The Smokeless Solo Stove Yukon. Is it any good? So this Solo Stove that's here is one that I kind of got frustrated with for the longest time. They sent it to me to use and try out and review, I think about 3 years ago. And they didn't send me a cover for it. They refused to send me the cover for it. So I kind of got irritated. I was reviewing the Brio X24 because they're comparable. And like I said, I just got frustrated and I just threw this in my fire pit. And it's been here the last 3 years, just out in the open, no cover, which I thought would make for an interesting video. So it's actually performed pretty well. There's really nothing wrong with it. Just used it again last night. Works great, smokeless. What else can you ask for? Now, is there some corrosion and, you know, breaking down of materials? Yeah, there's a little bit here and there. But it's nothing major. It's all what you would expect. It works perfectly fine. It's sturdy. You know, it's not falling apart. And literally, it sat here without a cover for about 3 years. So between the Brio X24, which is up on our deck, and this Yukon by Solo Stove, the Solo Stove, just the operation of it is a little cumbersome. So the spark arrest, or the thing that keeps all the, you know, ashes and embers from flying everywhere, keeps them really small. This has a thing that goes over the top that you use two little handle things to take off, and then you can put more wood in. That is horrible. Worst idea ever. I think they should have that to be folding, so that it folds over on one side and back, instead of this balancing act. With the Brio, it's just a little hinge. So much easier to use. So I just keep this on, and it's out in the open, in the elements, like I said, for 3 years, and works perfectly fine. Is there some, you know, obvious parts of it that are a little, you know, beat up? Yeah, but I mean, given the fact that this is made in China, I'm pretty impressed with how it's held up just sitting outside with me literally doing no maintenance whatsoever. I'm moving it whatsoever. It just sits here all year round. Now, which way would I recommend? Obviously, I'm going to recommend the Brio. There's a few reasons. The main reason is because the side heat, so if I'm sitting here, the side heat, very non-existent on the Solo Stove. It actually keeps the heat inside the Solo Stove more than the Brio. The Brio gives off way more heat on the sides, so as you're sitting, it feels a lot better. Now, if you're standing up next to the Solo Stove, you'll feel a lot of heat. And obviously there's differences between the Brio X24 and this Yukon by Solo Stove, especially the way that they work. The Solo Stove has a different ignition, if you will, a different intake than what the Brio does, and I can get a much more roaring fire with the Brio than I can with the Solo Stove. And obviously there's a price difference. You got about $450 compared to the Brio X24, which is about $800. Brio made in America, Solo Stove made in China. So there's obvious differences between the two. The Brio is heavier, more well-made in my opinion. I'd recommend buying that one if you're going to take money and, you know, put it into something. If you want something for, you know, you're just getting started in fire pits, or you have like a secondary fire pit like we do, I would go ahead and maybe on Marketplace or whatever, look for a Solo Stove Yukon, or a bigger one or smaller ones they make, whatever your size is. I'd get that on secondhand, especially if they have a cover on it. You know, like I said, this right here, I haven't done anything with it, and it still works just as it did the first day I got it. So you can even have like a crappily, you know, taken care of one, and I think you're gonna get like a pretty good deal on Marketplace and such if you're looking for a Solo Stove. So this right here is from our fire last night. Can you see? It burns pretty clean. There's some ashes left, but overall it burned it pretty clean. So in conclusion, compared to the Brio, the Solo Stove is not as well built, not as heavy, definitely uses different stainless steel materials in my opinion. I've yet to find out what material the Solo Stove uses, but 304 stainless is what the Brio uses. I can get a much hotter fire out of the Brio. Sitting down, I get heat radiating off of the Brio. I don't get that out with the Solo Stove. And I can put more wood into the Brio, even though it's like 2 or 3 inches smaller in diameter technically. So there's all those differences to take into mind. So my opinion, like I said, I would get the Solo Stove secondhand if you're looking for one, save some money, and get one. Maybe someone's upgraded or they can't use it anymore, they're not going to use it anymore, whatever. I would go secondhand with a Solo Stove smokeless fire pit. So if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. If you guys have a Brio or a Solo Stove, go ahead and put in the comments down below, or better yet, make a video about it. And until next time, later.